regarding the status of construction of the Mau Mau Road Lot 3 project. Honorable Speaker, the Mau Mau Lot 4 Road project is intended to enhance transport connectivity, promote trade, and stimulate economic activity between Nyeri and Nyandarua counties. The project includes the Ihide-Donyujero section, which spans approximately 52 kilometers, as well as link roads such as Jengo, Treetops, Ihide, Kiamutiga, Mukarara, Arcgate Access, and the Munyaka, Koinange, Heni, Mwendando, Joma, Wero corridor. While certain sections of the road traversing the Aberdare National Park have been halted by orders of the Environmental and Land Court, other sections are clear for construction. Notably, the Ihide, Kiamutiga, Mokarara, and Jengo Treetop sections, which are uncontested, remain in a poor state, especially during the rainy season. The continued delay in the implementation of the project, particularly in the uncontested sections, has denied residents, farmers, and traders the full economic benefits envisaged under the project. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. 1, the measures in place to prioritize the upgrading and completion of the non-disputed sections of the Mau Mau Road Lot 4 project, particularly Ihide, Kiamutiga, Mukarara, and Jengo Treetop sections. And 2, the timelines for the completion of the uncontested sections of the road to enable residents and farmers to derive immediate socio-economic benefits from the project. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
This goes to the Transport Committee. Chairperson, Honorable Kibet, are you holding brief?
Yes, Madam Speaker. I think we can respond in the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Very well. Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, exemption of business from the provisions of Standing Order 43.
Honorable Mashua, you will apologize for coming late, but I will indulge you. We go back to order number 7. Clerk, you can call it out.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
I give you the chance to ask and request for your statement. Mashua.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm sorry for coming in late.
But I will indulge you. We go back to order.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health regarding measures to forestall, Honorable Speaker, the outbreak of Ebola and hantavirus disease in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, in May 2026, the World Health Organization confirmed an outbreak of Ebola virus disease in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. Subsequently, on 23rd May 2026, the government of Uganda, in collaboration with WHO, confirmed 5 cases of an outbreak of the virus in Uganda. Consequently, the African Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Africa, CDC, has warned that 10 nations across the region, including Kenya, are at risk of being affected by the virus and are vulnerable owing to the ease of cross-border movement of persons within the region. Honorable Speaker, an outbreak of hantavirus has been reported in different parts of the world since April 2026, raising concerns of potential spread to Africa, including Kenya, due to the transnational movement of people. Currently, there are no vaccines or treatments for the 2 viral diseases. Hence, management relies solely on early intensive supportive care. These risks call for urgent need to put in place preventive measures to cushion Kenyans from possible spread of the viruses. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background the request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health on the following. Immediate measures that the Ministry of Health and other relevant agencies have taken to prevent the possible spread of Ebola virus and the threat of a hantavirus in the country. Honorable Speaker, a report to the level of preparedness of public health facilities, including the availability of isolation units, medical facilities, and trained medical personnel to handle any case of the viruses. 3, strategies developed by the government to ensure preparedness for infectious disease outbreaks, including the capacity to respond effectively to potential outbreaks of infectious disease, surveillance, screening, early detection systems, and health awareness initiatives to forestall Ebola and hantavirus infections. And 4, details on regional cooperation and coordination mechanisms with neighboring countries and international health agencies to contain the outbreaks. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Surveillance, screening, early detection systems,
Health Committee.
health awareness initiatives to forestall Ebola and
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think as regards, yes, actually asked about viruses. One is the hantavirus and the other is the Ebola virus. As regards the Ebola virus, as you are all aware, the Cabinet Secretary
Health Committee.
here in the House in the afternoon to actually answer exactly the same issues that's raised. If that is not sufficient, the committee will undertake to get more information. As regards to the hantavirus, that I think will take, as we say, 2 weeks, we should have information about the hantavirus.
So I will direct that Honorable Mashua, you be in the House in the afternoon. When the Cabinet Secretary appears, if there will be additional questions, they will be answered by the committee, as has been enumerated by the chair.
Thank you, Honorable
The
Speaker.
other one, 2 weeks. The antivirus one, 2
Well
weeks.
guided.
So I will direct that we go to the next order. In the House in the afternoon. When
Order
the
number 8,
Cabinet Secretary
procedural
appears,
motion,
there will be additional
exemption of
questions
business from
that
the
will be
provisions
answered
of
by the
Standing
committee,
Order 43.
as has been Majority Leader. By the chair.
Thank you, Honorable
Thank
The
you,
other one, 2 weeks.
Honorable
Antivirus
Speaker,
one.
and I move this procedural motion.
will direct that,
I would like
we
to
go to the
prepare
next
the
order.
Honorable Sam Atandi to second me.
Order number 8,
No,
procedural
Makali
motion,
Mulu, not Sam Atandi.
exemption of business from the provisions of Standing Order 43.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as Order number 9 in today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order 4(3), being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority party or business sponsored by a committee. Honorable Speaker, as we are aware, we are heading towards the budget cycle. And this budget cycle is a very important cycle in the financial year and in the life of Parliament, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, at times like these, we call upon every member of Parliament to examine one perspective, that there are certain businesses that become paramount and must be passed within a certain period of time. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, today being Wednesday, where we have members' motions and motions that are moved by minority or majority, Honorable Speaker, it is important that we actually ask members to give us an opportunity to move certain important businesses, such as the budget, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I would like to request your support to adjourn this, to change the program a little bit, allow us to infuse in and put in this motion so that, Honorable Speaker, we can fast-track this business. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. And having said all that, I would request the Honorable Makali Mulu, a veteran politician and an honorable, almost ranking member of this House, to second me. Thank you.
Makali Mulu.
Allow us to infuse in and put in.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to second the motion so that we use this morning to do the budget process instead of doing private members' bills and motions. And this is informed by really what the Deputy Majority Leader has said. Bearing in mind, Honorable Speaker, that next week on Thursday, which is 11th, the CS Treasury will be presenting budget highlights to the nation. Working backwards is important that we get this morning so that we are able to process the budget and be ready for that important day. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I second. Bearing in mind, Honorable Speaker, that next week on Thursday, which is 11th,
Honorable members, allow me then to propose that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as order number 9 in today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority or business sponsored by a committee. Honorable members, do I put the question? Very well, that this House resolves, I put the question that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing on order as order number 9 in today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority party or business sponsored by a committee. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Business appearing on order as order number 9 in today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for
Order number 9, motion, consideration of the budget estimates for the financial year 2026-2027. General debate, first allotted day.
Chairperson, Business and Appropriations Committee. Next order.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Speaker.
Order number
And
9,
I want to thank
motion,
the House
consideration of the
for
budget
exempting
estimates
the
for the
business
financial
that should
year
have appeared this morning
2026-2027.
to allow the Budget and
General
Appropriations
debate,
Committee to be
first
able to
allotted
execute
day.
the budget estimates for this
Chairperson,
financial year.
Business and Appropriations
Honorable
Committee.
Speaker, let me move that, thank you very much, that this House adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the estimates of revenue and expenditure and the medium term for the financial year 2026-2027, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 2nd June 2026, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 221 of the Constitution, Section 39 of the PFM Act, Cap 412A, and Standing Order 239, 1, approves the issuance of a sum of 2,930,216,013,184 from the Consolidated Fund to meet the expenditure during the year ending 30th June 2027 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule to the order paper, subject to paragraph 3, that is Committee of Supply. 2, makes the policy and financial resolutions contained in the second and the third schedules to the order paper. And 3, orders that the Speaker do now leave the chair to facilitate the consideration of the said budget estimates with respect to each vote and programs in the Committee of Supply as contemplated under Standing Order 240, that is consideration of the estimates in the Committee of Supply. Honorable Speaker, before I make my remarks, I would like first of all to thank the House. The entire House participated in the execution of this budget. Honorable Speaker, when we were going through the budget process, I was very, very excited with the manner in which the entire House participated in the budget process. Honorable Speaker, you know very well that this time of the year, members are very, very busy with their constituents in respect for the campaign that are coming up. But Honorable Speaker, all members were involved. In fact, when I went through the committee reports, and which were presented to us by the chairman of various departmental committees, I noted the active participation of members. I also would like to thank the members of the Budget and Appropriations Committee who took all their time and participated in the execution of the budget. Honorable Speaker, the attendance was surprising. Even for my members, I had about 99% of attendance during the budget process. I would also want to thank the leadership of the Parliament, including the clerk, and members of staff who always assist us when we are engaging in these processes. Honorable Speaker, I would like to confirm that for this time, we endeavor to reflect the changes that were made by the departmental committees. And members will appreciate if they go through this report that the report contains most of the changes that were recommended. There are a few cases, Honorable Speaker, that based on the consultation that we normally have to do with the National Treasury after the budget committees, after the committees have made their changes, that a few of them were declined. But largely, I would like to confirm that about 99% of the recommendations from committees were accepted. Honorable Speaker, having said that, I would like to take this opportunity now to make a few highlights. First of all, Honorable Speaker, let me say that we are processing these budgets at a time when there is heightened domestic and global uncertainty, characterized by geopolitical tensions, slowing global growth. Honorable Speaker, IMF and World Bank have already revised global growth for 2026 from a high of 4.5. The outlook now reflects 3.1%, the global growth outlook. Even here globally, Honorable Speaker, we have now revised our own growth projection from 5.3% to 5%. And Honorable Speaker, members understand the reason why this is happening. We are having the global oil crisis, which has actually affected us in some ways. We have seen our inflation going up by a high of, in the last 1 month, by 1%. Honorable Speaker, I would like to add that despite all these projected challenges, global challenges and local challenges, this budget endeavors to sustain that economic growth, support productive sectors, protect vulnerable households, and accelerate the implementation of the better, that is bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Honorable Speaker, you realize that this House recently, in an attempt to caution Kenyans against fuel-related inflation, the government recently implemented a reduction in the VAT for fuel from 16% to 8%. Honorable Speaker, this has been very important step towards cushioning Kenyans. But however, there is an implication in the projected revenues which we had passed when we are processing the BPS. Consequently, Honorable Speaker, the total budget estimates for the next financial year, 2026-2027, is 4.850 trillion. 4.850 trillion. And Honorable Speaker, this budget is divided as follows. Total national government expenditure would be 2.898 trillion. Parliament's projection is 50.98 trillion. Judiciary will get 30.3. Sorry, Parliament will get 50.98 billion. Judiciary will get 30.3 billion. Honorable Speaker, we project devolution to receive for 495.5 billion. This will include county shareable allocations as well as the usual national government transfers to counties. Honorable Speaker, I would like to say that this budget, the 2026-2027 budget policy framework, is anchored on accelerating gains made under bottom-up economic agenda for inclusive growth and sustainable growth. Honorable Speaker, we also have to say that there is Vision 2030, which is properly aligned with this budget. And we project, Honorable Speaker, that key sectors will receive enhanced allocations. For example, Honorable Speaker, in this budget, 379.5 billion has been earmarked for programs under better, that is finance and production, infrastructure, social sector, land and natural resources, and governance and public administration. Honorable Speaker, now let me highlight for you the exact allocations for each sector. Honorable Speaker, the education sector will receive the largest allocation of 781.3 billion. Honorable Speaker, as usual, we normally allocate over 30% of our budget to education. Again, this year, we have equally done the same, and this enhancement will be utilized as follows. One, TSC will receive 406.6 billion. 56.7 billion will go to higher education loans board. 54.6 billion will go to free day secondary school. 30.0 billion will go to junior secondary school and capitation. 7.7 billion will go for free primary education. 30.9 billion will go for scholarship for university students. And Honorable Speaker, let me add that these allocations are expected to strengthen our human capital for the country and equipping young people with knowledge and skills required to help in participating in our economy, modern economy. Honorable Speaker, let me now move to infrastructure. Honorable Speaker, the road sector alone has been allocated 228 billion. Honorable Speaker, these funds will be used to support construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance of roads and bridges across the country. Honorable Speaker, the transport sector has been allocated 51.8 billion, and these funds will be used for railway development, railway modernization, rapid bus rapid transit systems, airport upgrades, logistics hubs, ferry services, and development of standard gauge railways, SGR. Major transport projects include 20.8 billion for SGR phase 2B and 2C, Kenya Shillings 4.2 billion for Dongo Kundu Special Economic Zone, and 3.8 billion for flood mitigation works. Further, manufacturing and industrial sector has been allocated 19.2 billion to stimulate industrial growth, improve competitiveness, and support value addition, and also to create jobs. Honorable Speaker, these investments are expected to reduce the cost of doing business and strengthen Kenya's position as a regional trade and logistics hubs. Honorable Speaker, let me now move to the health sector. The health sector is allocated 175.5 billion, and these funds will be used to strengthen universal health coverage, improve primary healthcare services, and to expand specialized healthcare infrastructure. Key allocations include 20.9 billion for Kenya Medical KEMSA, 19.1 billion for primary healthcare fund, and 18.8 billion for Kenyatta National Hospital, 18.5 billion for global fund for HIV, malaria, and TB programs, and 8.9 billion for UHC health workers. Honorable Speaker, I want to add that the primary health care, which is one of the most important anchors for universal health care, has continued to receive increased allocation year in out. In this financial year, the year which we are about to end, the primary health care received about 13.5 billion. This has now been enhanced to 19.1 billion. But globally, Honorable Speaker, it's important to note that in order for us to fully cover primary health care, we need an allocation of about 28 billion. We are determined to enhance this allocation, Honorable Speaker, and if resources, if we be able to collect, KRA is able to collect more resources in the year, I want to promise that this committee, this House will be ready to enhance this allocation to the expected, to the required, to the estimated requirements. Honorable Speaker, now let me move to the housing and urban development. Honorable Speaker, housing and urban development has been allocated 138.2 billion, and this will be used to support one affordable housing program, which will receive 110 billion, urban infrastructure, informal settlements, upgrading. Major allocations also include 50.7 billion to construction of affordable housing units, 20.9 billion for social housing, 18.6 billion for Kenya Urban Program, known as KENUP, and 2.7 billion for the Kenya Informal Settlement Program, KSIP. These programs are donor-funded programs, Honorable Speaker, and these programs have been implemented in counties across the country. I think each and every county has a program, has a KSIP and a KENUP program. Honorable Speaker, under Environment and Natural Resources, we have allocated 112.4 billion to support water, infrastructure, irrigation, forest conservation, climate resilience, wildlife management, and Honorable Speaker, significant allocations include 47 billion for water and sewerage infrastructure development, 15.1 billion for wildlife conservation and management, and 14.4 billion for forest conservation, 8.9 billion for financing local led climate action, FLOCA. Honorable Speaker, FLOCA is one of the major donor-funded programs by a group of donors, including World Bank. And this program has brought a lot of reforms in the water and climate environment sectors. Honorable Speaker, every county in this country is implementing this program, and I can confirm that in my county, this program has done very well to support environment and water programs. Honorable Speaker, under agriculture, we have allocated 63.63 billion to support agriculture and food security, and this includes 18 billion for fertilizer subsidy, 2 billion for seed subsidy, 5.4 billion for food resilience project, 4.7 billion for natural agricultural value chain development, NAVCDP, and 3.3 billion for pastoral resilience initiatives. Honorable Speaker, fertilizer subsidy remains one of the major important anchors for our agricultural performance. Each year, this parliament has been allocating resources for fertilizer subsidy, and I want to confirm that in this year, that allocation has equally been enhanced. Honorable Speaker, this is one of the allocations that has done very well for us. The country right now does not have sufficient food that has been produced courtesy of this allocation. I want to say that this is sufficient allocation, and it will help in improving our agricultural performance. Honorable Speaker, now let me move to agro-processing. Honorable Speaker, and I want to confirm that in this year, you know that this House has been appropriating resources for a program known as KIPES. That KIPES is supposed to be implemented in all counties, and it's a collaboration between national government and county governments. Over the years, we have now completed about 15 KIPES. In this financial year, Honorable Speaker, we have not allocated resources for development of new KIPES, but what we have are resources that's going to be used to equip those KIPES that have already been constructed and completed. Because we want to ensure that these KIPES can now be turned into centers for innovation, centers for job creation. So, Honorable Speaker, we have allocated 2.45 billion for equipping and operationalization of 15 county aggregation and industrial KIPES in counties where both the national government and county governments have fulfilled their respective counterpart funding. Honorable Speaker, I also want to say that there are some counties where the national government has already fulfilled their counterpart funding, but the counties have refused to do their part. Now, those ones, the department committee in charge of trade have assured me that they are going to ensure that they engage those counties to see whether we can be able to fund them in the future. But for now, we want to focus more in equipping and modernizing the already completed KIPES. Honorable Speaker, to support women and youth empowerment, we have allocated 61.8 billion to National Youth Service, 10.4 billion for Kenya Devolution Support Program, 22.6 billion for youth programs, over 2.21 billion for internship programs, and 4.7 billion for the National Youth Opportunity Towards Achievement, that is NYOTA program. A further 8.8 billion has been provided for affordable credit to SMEs. These programs are intended to empower vulnerable groups, create economic opportunities, and strengthen inclusive development. Honorable Speaker, all members are aware of NYOTA, and this is a program which was designed and has been implemented and championed by the President himself. I want to confirm, Honorable Speaker, that NYOTA program has been game-changing. In Mount County, Honorable Speaker, I know many women groups, many youth groups that are benefiting from this program and are actually changing lives. So the additional resources that we are applying in this financial year is going to be used to further enhance the program and ensure that those groups that receive more resources and they are growing, they will be able to receive further allocations. Honorable Speaker, to improve digital access, strengthen e-governance, and create job opportunities with the digital economy, we have allocated 10.5 billion to support digital transformation, expansion of digital connectivity, cybersecurity systems, and development of digital hubs. Honorable Speaker, in this sector, we have allocated 5.3 billion for Kenya Digital Economic Acceleration Project, 1.5 billion for last mile connectivity, 382 million for digital spyware cybersecurity interventions. Honorable Speaker, these are very, very important interventions and allocations, which are important for creating jobs, job opportunities, and also strengthen our e-government services. Honorable Speaker, to support our national security, the national security has been allocated 566.9 billion, and this will be used to strengthen defense, policing, intelligence services, correctional services, and internal security administration. Honorable Speaker, key allocations include 250 billion for defense, 144.4 billion for national police service, 58.6 billion for national intelligence service, and for 2.7 billion for prison and correctional services. Honorable Speaker, these investments, first of all, the security of our country is something which this House should never compromise on. And Honorable Speaker, my committee is aware that this is one of the most priority allocations that we must give to ensure that our country is safe. Before we even engage in any production, Honorable Speaker, we must be sure that this country is safe. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, this allocation, even though not satisfactory, are going to support the security sector to ensure that the country is safe and that Kenyans can be able to move around and do their businesses. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I would like to say that this budget underscores our commitment to inclusive transformation, economic resilience, fiscal responsibility, and sustainable development. Honorable Speaker, one thing that I want to highlight here is that we have endeavored to ensure that this budget touches each and every corner of this country. This is, again, the second budget under the broad-based government that has been processed to ensure that each and every section of the country, they receive their fair share of development. Honorable Speaker, we have programs under water, we have programs under irrigation, we have programs under roads, electricity, and these programs have been designed to affect each and every section of the country without ignoring any. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to urge members to support these estimates so that we can be able to move quickly and process the estimates. And before the end of the financial year, the estimates would have been signed into law, and therefore Kenyans will be able to continue to receive services. Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, I would like to finish and request. I would like to move and request the Honorable Vice Chairman of Budget and Appropriations Committee, Honorable Kose, to second.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you, my chair, for moving this report on the estimates for the revenue and expenditure for the financial year 2026-2027 and the medium term. Honorable Speaker, just want to join my chair in thanking the various chairs of the committees for the submissions they made before our committee, and I also want to thank members of the Budget and Appropriation Committee for staying throughout all the presentations that they were made, and for spending more of their time to make sure that they have gone through these budget estimates. Honorable Speaker, in this budget, it is looked into all the sectors, and for the first time, Honorable Speaker, the committee approved 3.5 billion for stipends to the village elders. I think this is a right move in the right direction. Village elders have never been given anything before that, and we are hoping that with this budget now, the GAO, the National Government Administrative, will be able to pay stipends of 3,000 to the village elders, and we are hoping that this is just a start. Subsequently, we'll be able to increase that amount, but starting with this, I think all the village elders in Kenya will now be able to smile and get something to start with. I know it might not be enough, but it is a start. And you know, my chair was making a comment and saying now the village elders should think that they should now be part of the broad-based government and support the government of the day. And I think that is thanks to this government that it has considered them. Honorable Speaker, in this budget also, we've seen that there is money for UHC workers, and we are hoping that when we retreat, maybe in the mediation, we will be able to agree with our counterparts in the Senate to make sure that the UHC workers who have been working in counties for a long time are now able to be absorbed as permanent and pensionable. And this is what they've been looking forward to all this time, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is a budget that is coming during very difficult times, where we have the war in the Middle East, between the US and Iran. And we want to thank the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury for having appeared and shed light. We also want to thank Honorable Ndindi Nyoro for appearing before our committee and giving his suggestions, which the committee also was able to listen to. We considered, and some of them we found that when we consulted with the Treasury, they are not workable. I think some of the proposals are actually populism that we think there is good for hearing, but it's not workable. Because when you suggest that you remove even 2 billion from CDF, remove another VAT, it just translates to around 8 billion, which I don't think is is anything that will be able to assist in bringing down the fuel prices. Honorable Speaker, this budget is also, we are hoping that most of whatever variations that will occur will be absorbed as per our law by the national government. Because in the division of revenue bill, Honorable Speaker, you realize that there is 420 billion that will go to the counties. And we hope that the counties will be able to spend that money and use it for development and make a difference to the counties. Honorable Speaker, we've seen that we have also in the national government given support to the counties through supporting of the health infrastructure, support of the boreholes in various places, schools, and also in areas that especially arid and semi-arid areas where our people are not able to access clean and safe water. So in this, that goes also as a support to the counties in this budget. Honorable Speaker, we've also seen that in the housing department, they've set money for food bridges, and these food bridges will make it accessible for most of our people within some very difficult areas. Our committee also conducted public participation, and we went to 26 counties within the Republic. There are issues that were raised, especially among the youths, in issues about the Youth Enterprise Fund, where they want the Youth Enterprise Fund to at least be domiciled in every sub-county, so that it makes it easier for our youths to be able to access these services. Road infrastructure became one of the key areas where many of the Kenyans pointed out, where they want to have accessible and tarmac roads. They also want to have electricity. And in this budget, Honorable Speaker, we've seen that they've also given money for REREC to make sure that key and critical facilities are able to get power through having transformers, having last mile connectivity, and making sure that there is lighting to most of our areas. So, Honorable Speaker, with those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I want to second and hope that the Honorable House members will be able to support this budget estimate 2026-2027. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, allow me to propose a question that this House adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the estimates of revenue and expenditure and the medium term for the financial year 2026-2027 laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 2nd June 2026, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 221 of the Constitution, Section 39 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, and Standing Order 239, 1. Approve the issuance of a sum of Kenya shillings 2,930,216,013,184 from the Consolidated Fund to meet the expenditure during the year ending 30th June 2027, in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule of the order paper, subject to paragraph 2, Committee of Supply. Number 2, makes the policy and financial resolutions contained in the second and third schedules of the order paper. And number 3, orders as the Speaker do now leave the chair to facilitate the consideration of the said budget estimates with respect to each vote and program in the Committee of Supply as contemplated under Standing Order 240, consideration of estimates in the Committee of Supply. Makali Mulu. Of Article 221 of the Constitution, Section 39 of the Public Finance
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I really appreciate this opportunity to also make some comments in relation to the 2026-2027 annual budget, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my chairman and the vice chairman have talked more about the figures, and the only figure they have not mentioned, which I would want to mention, Honorable Speaker, for purposes of policy level, is the public debt. In the budget, Honorable Speaker, the public debt this year is going to be 1.11 trillion. So, Honorable Speaker, you realize that it is the first year in the history of Kenya that public debt has crossed the 1 trillion mark. And if you look at the report which was tabled by the Committee on Public Debt and Privatization, Honorable Speaker, this matter as a country, we need to pay a lot of attention on in terms of how to manage this particular public debt. Looking at the figure, Honorable Speaker, of above 1.1 trillion in terms of borrowing, Honorable Speaker, you realize in terms of consolidated fund services expenditure, Honorable Speaker, it has also moved to about 1.15. And out of that figure, Honorable Speaker, interest alone is 1.11 trillion. So you can see, Honorable Speaker, we are paying a lot of money in terms of interest. And what this has done, Honorable Speaker, it actually makes our fiscal space be very limiting. So that's one of the challenges we are facing as a country, that our fiscal space is so restricted to an extent that then you don't have a lot of resources, Honorable Speaker, to spend in terms of taking care of needs of the country. Honorable Speaker, the other matter which I think is critical is the issue of pending bills. This matter is a house. We have discussed about it for many, many times, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there are two areas I would want to mention relating to pending bills. One of the reasons is that the main cause of pending bills across the sectors, and from our interaction with the sectors, is that the exchequer release, Honorable Speaker, that we are budgeting, but when it comes to the actual money being released to the MDS to do the work, there's a challenge. And what that has done, Honorable Speaker, it has pushed the pending bills to be very high. And it's time we started also a serious discourse on pending bills. What happens, Honorable Speaker, when you have such a huge pending bills in a country like ours, then you stifle the economy in terms of growth. That money is not really in circulation, and as a result of that, then not many economic activities are happening. And when you are talking about projecting high economic growth, and at the same time having high pending bills, Honorable Speaker, that doesn't match well. So it's important we address this matter. The other matter, Honorable Speaker, which is also important, and we have picked it from our discussion with departments, is that we have so many uncompleted projects all over the country, Honorable Speaker. And we have been saying, if we really want to help this country, instead of having so many uncompleted projects, and when it comes to budgeting, we spread all the resources thinly to all the uncompleted projects. I think it's time, Honorable Speaker, we started now identifying projects with huge impact to the economy. We complete them, and if we phase them out, over time we can actually be able to complete all these projects, and then Kenyans will be able to get value for money, and we'll be able to improve the lives of our people. The other matter, Honorable Speaker, which is critical, is if you look at the budget, Honorable Speaker, the Auditor General has been allocated about 9 billion, Honorable Speaker. And what has happened over the years, the Office of the Auditor General has been generating very important reports with very important recommendations. I think it's time, Honorable Speaker, we started tying Auditor General's recommendations with the budget making process, so that, Honorable Speaker, those accounting officers who have been singled out to be either misapplying or engaged in corruption do not continue benefiting from additional resources, while those who have applied their resources well, Honorable Speaker, are not getting enough resources. And Honorable Speaker, that's why I'm saying, even at the county level, as you look at the formula for allocation of resources to county level, it is important, Honorable Speaker, we reintroduce the part of fiscal discipline as a factor in determining how much a county gets. In that case, Honorable Speaker, we improve use of resources, and we'll be able to help the country. The other issue which is critical, Honorable Speaker, and this really continues really becoming a challenge in this country, is the issue to ensure that we mainstream equity issues in the budget making. So that, Honorable Speaker, when we are talking about budgeting, that all parts of this country, there will be seen to be equity, and not even being seen to be equity, Honorable Speaker. Equity is also being practiced in the budget making process. A lot of our colleagues, Honorable Speaker, will keep on complaining that they are not getting resources to their respective areas. And I think it's time, as a country, we deliberately, Honorable Speaker, start talking about equity. Honorable Speaker, you are likely to realize that as you continue this debate, don't be surprised to see some honorable members complain that their regions have not gotten any money. And where they have even gotten money, Honorable Speaker, a time will come when through supplementary budgets, those resources are also removed. So, Honorable Speaker, what am I recommending? I'm recommending that, Honorable Speaker, from the word go, we look at equity issues at the time we are making our budget. And even where money has been put, Honorable Speaker, we try as much as possible to protect reduction of this resource through supplementary budgets, ensuring that equity is there. Honorable Speaker, I want to give you an example. If you look at the budget for Konza City now, and I want to thank the budget committee and the department in charge of Konza City, they have actually put a lot of resources for Konza City to make that this city becomes operational. And this is a very good decision, Honorable Speaker, because Konza City, once it becomes fully operational, is supposed to transform this economy in many ways. That being the case, Honorable Speaker, over the years, at the level of annual estimates, we put resources for Konza City. But during supplementary budgets, we reduce all that budget. So at the end of the day, you find you had very good intentions at the start, but towards the end, you can't implement those intentions because the budget has been reduced, Honorable Speaker. The other point, Honorable Speaker, I wanted to talk about is what I was saying, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of the contingency funds. If you look at the contingency funds, and you're remembering what the chairman said, Honorable Speaker, this year, the budget has been prepared under very strict external conditions, Honorable Speaker, looking at what's happening out there, the war in the Middle East, and so many other external factors, Honorable Speaker. It means that we must be very disciplined the way we use our money. And that being the case, Honorable Speaker, there is need then to provide much more resources to take care of any emergency contingencies, Honorable Speaker. Because when things work the way they are likely to work, Honorable Speaker, we are likely to face a lot of local challenges, what we call local emergencies. And that being the case, we can only address such emergencies through the contingency fund, Honorable Speaker. So we have now reduced from 5 billion to 2 billion. So in case there is improvement in the revenue collection, Honorable Speaker, this is an area I think we need to push slightly much more money so that we help the country. Honorable Speaker, we have put resources in quite a number of sectors, but still, I think these sectors, we need to focus on them so that in case we get additional resources, Honorable Speaker, we take care of them. The first area is capitation, Honorable Speaker. We are still facing challenges. The second one, Honorable Speaker, is health issues. We are still having serious challenges with health issues. We need to think about putting more resources. The other issue is education, more so examination department, Honorable Speaker, where our people are supervising exams, but they are not being paid for those services. So we need to improve our national examination allocation. The other issue, Honorable Speaker, is the money for elders. You really want to appreciate. Honorable Speaker, you and me, we have been in this house for long. And you remember every year there is a motion about giving some stipend to the village elders. I'm so happy that this is the first budget. We have now put resources so that we appreciate the good work being done by village elders, Honorable Speaker. And I think as time goes, Honorable Speaker, and if the resources allow, it's time we also think of improving the stipend as time goes. The last point, Honorable Speaker, is revenue collection. We are realizing very low revenue collection, Honorable Speaker, and KRA needs to up their game. We have given them resources so that they are able to up their game. I hope the resources which have been given to KRA, Honorable Speaker, will be utilized properly so that we collect enough money for this country and we reduce our public borrowing, Honorable Speaker. With those many remarks, I support and I thank you for the opportunity, Honorable Speaker. Thank you so much.
Very well. Vice Chair, Administration, Dido Russell.
So we need to improve our national examination allocation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this budget.
Every year there is a motion about giving some stipend to the village
on the onset,
I'm so happy that this is the
Madam Speaker, we must lay some grounds
so that we appreciate the good work
First of all, this budget
elders, Honorable
must
Speaker.
reflect
And I think as time goes, Honorable
the
Speaker,
face
if
of
the resources
Kenya.
allow, it's time
In
we also
terms
think
of
improving
resource
the
distribution
investment as time goes. The
and
last point, Honorable
creating
Speaker, is revenue
an
collection.
equal
We are realizing
platform
very low revenue collection,
for
Honorable
all
Speaker.
Kenyans
And
to
KRA
participate
needs to have
in
their
the
game.
discourse of
We
life.
have given them resources so that they are
Madam
able to
Speaker,
have their game. I hope the
I
resources
start
we have
with
given to
the
KRA,
equalization fund,
will be utilized properly,
which
so
is
that we collect
actually
enough money
in this
for
budget.
country, and we reduce our public.
It has been
borrowing,
the
Honorable
elephant
Speaker.
in the room.
Those many remarks I support, and I
For
thank you.
Kenya to be equal,
Thank you so much.
at least
Very
every
well.
county or every
Vice Chair,
constituency
Administration,
must
Dr.
have
Raffles.
some water, must have some hospital, must have some electricity flowing.
Madam Speaker,
And in the absence of that, when many Kenyans, because of lack of basic amenities, are not able to participate in the decision making in this country, then Kenya can never be equal. For that reason, I want to ask the chairman of Budget Committee and his team to look at how best to dispose of with the equalization fund so that resources go to where it will help the people. Madam Speaker, I thank the committee for providing resources for the elders. This is really important. The elders at the grassroots play a formidable role in governance, in trying to work on the issues of cohesion, in also trying to ameliorate the issues of conflict at the grassroots. Considering them for something, I think it goes a long way in appreciating that this government understands what aches our people at the ground. Ask, Madam Speaker, the chairman, in many areas, particularly in the area of administration and national security, as a committee, we sat on this budget and considered many areas. For example, you have a lot of expansion in the area of administration, of sub-counties, chiefs, locations, sub-locations, in the area of DOs, administration, of SECs. But there isn't commensurate investment in resources to make this happen. For that reason, any place where we have developed an administrative unit, I think it is fair for us to put resources so that a DCC or a chief, they have resources to work round the clock to provide service to our people, wherever they may be. Madam Speaker, in this budget, I also want to encourage the committee to look at which are the areas that can generate A. For example, a place like the government printer. If we invest in the government printer, that actually does printing of all documents in this country that is required by the government, then it means they are able to cobble up together a lot of resources. And if we give them more allocation, so that in the end, there's no recourse of government printer to the taxpayer or to get resources from the treasury. They'll be self-generating and they'll be moving services, or they'll be working to provide services without asking the national treasury to give them more resources. Madam Speaker, on this budget, I also see the issue of the ASAL. Which are the areas unfortunate that yes, a budget has been done for arid and semi-arid lands. But this is the domain of the pastoralist parliamentary group. This budget is to benefit the people in pastoral areas. But in the absence of engaging the pastoralist parliamentary group, then I think we are just going out there on a limb And when we see the printed estimate, is when we start asking, why didn't you put this here? Why did you put this particular project here? So to avoid this, I must urge the budget committee, any specific or specialized area that has to deal with group of members of parliament from particular regions, then it means we must engage them. And it is important because it is important for the future prosperity of our people. Madam Speaker, on the issue of the State Department for Vocational and Technical Training, you know, we say that this is the future engine growth for this country, together with then I think we are just going MSCs. And if we are looking at what generates a lot of money today in Kenya, it's actually from the Jua Kali. It's not from the blue or the white collar jobs. So if we want this country to take off, if we want Kenya to be an middle income country or industrialized country by 2030 and beyond, then we must know where to put money. If we are going to allocate resources in the area of youth, youth empowerment, women empowerment, Madam Speaker, it means we'll be putting resources where our mouth is. And technical youth is the backbone of this country. The future of this country really depends on how the youth are cultured, engaged, resources, empowered to move forward into the future. In the absence of putting enough resources in youth, then we'll always see them back on the street to complain that there's no employment, there are no jobs, you are not looking after us. And I think as Parliament, we must engage in areas that we know that if we put resources, it will give us a heads up, it will give us a far-reaching thinking that Kenya is really moving forward. Madam Speaker, on the area of education, we say that education is the single equalizer. This is a one-line budget item. Youth is the backbone of this country. My ask is that education must address Kenya across the board, across the face of Kenya, to move forward, that a child in Marsabit, a child in Kisumu, a child in Mombasa and Nairobi must have equal access to educational resources. If we don't put resources in education with equity across Kenya, then Kenya can never be the same. Kenyans will never move at the same pace. You notice that Kenyans are doing one examination, Madam Speaker, for primary school, for secondary school, and yet that education, there is disparities across this country. I would not accept a child in Marsabit to be disadvantaged because they did not have equal access to a child in Kisumu or Nakuru or Nyeri for that matter. For that reason, Madam Speaker, when the Department of Education, particularly basic education, is going to lay the resources across the face of Kenya, I think if it is a shilling, it must reach everywhere. Finally, Madam Speaker, I come from a livestock region. Livestock, for us, it's everything. It is our economy. Our people depend on the growth of livestock to sustain their lives. Madam Speaker, for too long, as a country, we have not put much resources or much serious thinking in the area of livestock. And that has disadvantaged large swaths of the Kenyan population, particularly in the ASAL and the arid and semi-arid lands. For that reason, there is an opportunity for this government to look at the success of every region in this country will contribute to the national kitty. And to that end, the Livestock Board in the Department of Livestock must be activated, must be resourced, and they must move around the ASAL to make sure that the counties are able to put their little resources into livestock so that the livestock farmers across Kenya can be benefited and they are contributing to the growth of the Kenyan economy. And my final issue is about the ease of doing trade. Recently, during our visit to the Malaba and Busia border post, we saw that across our neighbors, they have good housing. They are well resourced. But when you come on our side, you ask yourself, what is happening? Why are we not putting enough resources? And yet one stop border post is for doing ease of trade across national borders. And for that reason, my request is if the Ugandans or the Ethiopians, the Tanzanians, are able to do something positive on the other side of the border, then the Kenyan side must mirror the same. On the issue of security, I think the chairman has alluded to that point. For Kenya to grow in all the different facets, on the economic front, on the social, on the youth, then Kenya must be secure. Those who secure this country are the National Police Service, the Department of Defense, the National Intelligence Service, the Prison Service. All these people work around the clock to make Kenya a safer place for investment, for Kenyans to go around their day-to-day so that they do their work with this. For that reason, I think any money that is put in security to secure Kenya is never wasted money. To give police enough vehicles, to give them the right resources in terms of equipping the sort of body protection equipment, their welfare, particularly in the area of housing. There are so many things that we can do that will make our police, that they feel that, yes, Kenyans are looking after us. Let us look after Kenyans. Madam Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to support. And I think the devil is in the detail. Let us reflect deeply on what is in the printed estimate to reflect the face of Kenya in the long run. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Before the next speaker, allow me to recognize in the public gallery schools that are visiting. Number 1, St. Simon Mbui Nzaun School from Kibwezi West, Makueni County. Number 2, St. Joseph International School, Makadara, Nairobi County. And number 3, Lakewood Emerald School from Kajiado East, Kajiado County. Welcome to observe the proceedings of the House. Next person to get a chance to speak is a member for Dagoretti North, Honorable Elachi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, also rise to support, but also to appreciate the work the Budget Committee has done, and to say indeed this is now a budget that we normally call a budget that closes the 13th Parliament
in the long run. Thank you,
Madam Speaker, as we go to our elections.
Before the next speaker, allow me
Speaker,
to
when you look
recognize
at
in
that,
the public gallery
one of the
schools
things
that
that I
are
will
visiting.
really
Number one, St. Simon
talk
Boy
about
Zaun School
is
from
on the
Kibwezi
matter of
West,
health,
Makueni County.
the matter of women
Number
empowerment,
two, St. Joseph International
and a few
School,
recommendations
Makadara,
that
Nairobi
I would
County.
wish when
And
I look
number
at the
three,
observations
Lakewood
of
Emerald School from
the
Kajiado
committee
East,
and their
Kajiado
recommendations
County.
and the
Welcome to
projections
walk
that
the
they have,
proceedings
Madam
of the
Speaker.
House. Next person to
One
get a
thing we
chance
need to
speak
ask
is,
ourselves,
member
even as
for
we now
Dagoretti
close
North,
this
Honorable Elachi.
13th Parliament, is to look at what we have done, Madam Speaker, as a Parliament in terms of budget, the challenges we have faced, especially when we come to indeed deal with the finance bill. Madam Speaker, allow me to just bring out a few recommendations. And one of them is that it is important for us as Parliament to demand an explicit alignment of budget allocations, especially on the issues of women economic empowerment. You realize, Madam Speaker, for the last 4 years we had Uwezo. We had at one point we closed Women Fund and then it started again, and I know women have not really grasped whether we have brought back the Women Fund, because you remember at one point we went complete digital and it really hurt many of the women who were running these programs. And I'm happy that the government was able to bring it back, and it is important for now the enterprise to go back to the women and ensure that within this budget we are able to see more women just getting funds for their trade, for their businesses that they were doing, Madam Speaker, and even for their groups that they had. Madam Speaker, the other thing we need to look at is an explicit alignment. We review the performance and redirect resources towards higher impact programs, and also to look at our health sector. I know we have SHA, I know we have really tried, Madam Speaker, the enrollment, but still, I know it's very low. This House, one of the things we must be doing with this budget is to try our best, even in our NCGDFs, to ensure we register more of our people, those who can't afford to have at least a SHA that can really stand for those families. And this we must do within this financial year. And Madam Speaker, if we look at the things that the budget is now looking at, I see most of the resources have now gone back to our disciplinary forces. They're the ones taking the higher allocations. We have education, yes. We are hoping that every child, as we go now, will have the chemis, which used to be the NEMIS. We are hoping, so that capitation is done in the correct way. And you find that in some schools today, we still have children who are there, but they don't have capitation because they don't have the chemis or whatever the now government is calling it. I called it NEMIS, I still call it NEMIS. That every child must have capitation, so that we find ourselves in every school, and that every constituency in this country will appreciate that they receive capitation, especially in the junior secondaries that we have. We want to see also in education the issue of books. Yes, we are giving a whole huge budget to the Ministry of Education. But then we need to ask ourselves whether we are also looking at the standards in terms of, do every school have these books? Every constituency, the schools that we have, do they have? Are they sharing? What can we do to ensure they have these textbooks? And the other thing we have to ask ourselves, even as we move, is when you look at your confirmation of your JSS, you have now 20 intern teachers to be permanent and pensionable in terms. And then you have a promotion of at least 30,000 teachers and implementation of the second phase of the 2025-2029 collective bargaining agreement, CBA. So you realize the education sector, Madam Speaker, takes quite a number of key things. And I'm hoping even for the teachers, for everyone, we are doing this for the sake of our children. Because one of the challenges we face, Madam Speaker, even as we do all this, is that you find we assume it is just a job. You enter into a school, when you look at the children, you feel a bit sad. And so I want to plead also with the teachers. You are there because of the child. If a child was not there, then there was no need of employment in a school. So take care of the children. Be there. Some of the children, Madam Speaker, will just wish counseling. I've realized, Madam Speaker, and I will tell you, and I won't tell you the name of the school, but I can tell you, Madam Speaker, we decided to bring 100 counselors in a school. And the issues the girls were raising, you listen to them and you realize there is need, absolute need of parent-child friendship. One of the challenges we face, Madam Speaker, even as we do absolute need, I want to repeat. Because you hear a child saying, I go home, I have passed my exams. To my parents, they will never see as if it is something. It's like it is normal to them, Madam Speaker. So some of these small things you see right now in school, and I want to really send my condolences, Madam Speaker, to the parents. Some of the children, and I know both parents, for those who are now with no children, oh, may the Lord have favor and may the Lord comfort them. But we have those also who their children now are facing the worst, Madam Speaker. They need prayers also. Because it means sometimes you will not understand our children. And you don't know who to blame, you don't know what to say, but you look at them and you ask yourself a lot of questions. In fact, it is so difficult. I find us politicians, and now the country, we've made everything politics. Madam Speaker, I know what you got. It is so difficult even to talk about. So, Madam Speaker, this confirmation of JSS teachers is critical, yes, but let us turn back to our children. Let us not make it just a job, but let us make it to mold a children, a nation that will come and take over us, Madam Speaker. The other thing, Madam Speaker, is the fertilizer subsidy. It's a program that has done very well. And I'm hoping it will continue helping us as farmers who have registered as farmers. And we continue, really, it has 18 billion. And I would wish farmers can register more. And let each of one of us, if you have a land somewhere, do something on that land just to save ourselves and the country. Madam Speaker, I will come now to the recommendation that I know everyone is awaiting us to see what we do. You remember, Madam Speaker, we had agreed that for those who have their salaries 30,000 and below, we will have to ensure we deal with that category and just ease the burdens that they are in. And so I'm hoping, Chair, that is going to happen. It's a program that has done very well because it is critical. I'm hoping it will continue. They are hurting, and we need to see. I know we have challenges of petroleum. Really, it has 18 billion. But even as we deal with petroleum, Madam Speaker, we have to ask ourselves, where are we easing burdens, and where are we going to hold ourselves as a country and walk a journey together, knowing the challenges we are facing. Madam Speaker, if the government would wish to ensure that also we move in the same steps, then Parliament should push for an urgent revision in institutionalization and guidelines of gender-based violence. Because deal with that category. It is an issue that has really hurt this country. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to support. That is going to
Very well. Member for North Imenti.
because it is critical. I'm hoping it will continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam
I
Speaker,
know we have challenges of
I
petroleum,
support generally the
but
budget
even as
estimates
we
for
deal with
2026,
petroleum, Madam
2027,
I would wish we
and
have to ask ourselves
I have a
where
few
are we
comments.
missing
I have
values
seen,
and where
Madam Speaker, we've got the Equalization Fund, which has been allocated 10 billion. But Madam Speaker,
Madam Speaker,
if you go to the
if
record,
the government would wish
there is a debt of more than 20 billion which has not been given to the Equalization Fund. So I hope this 10 billion will be forthcoming, because when we were doing an audit of the Equalization Fund under the special funds, and there is a debt which has never been cleared. Madam Speaker, I'm surprised there are a few items here which the Budget Committee deemed fit to remove. The first one would be, do we have less prisoners that they would reduce the rations of 100 million from the prisons department for rations? And I'm just surprised because I know there are more prisoners than we can even accommodate in our prisons. Madam Speaker, the budget for REREC, which has been allocated, in one go it has been reduced from REREC and put to public institutions. About 1.5 billion has been reduced from transformers and put to public facilities. Madam Speaker, I think we need more of this in the energy. I hope the chairman will take note of that. Madam Speaker, we're talking about, Honorable Makali Mulu talked about KRA being given more money. But I am seeing money has been reduced for KRA in the areas for revenue enhancement. About 300 million has been removed from KRA revenue investment enhancement, and how are they then supposed to get more money, recover and get people to pay what they have to pay? Madam Speaker, I think KRA needs to be supported. I have seen in the judiciary, it has been removed money for ICT, where it would help the cases to be moved to go faster in the judiciary. But apparently, money for ICT has been removed from judiciary, Madam Speaker. And I do not understand, if it is removed, how are we expecting our courts to operate and go faster in solving our cases, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, one good thing that I note is the money which has been allocated for village elders, or what we normally call them in area managers in our area. That's what most of them are called. Madam Speaker, that will go a long way, and I hope once we do that, they will be more motivated to work, because they've been doing the work without pay all these years. We should even look at how we can give them uniforms. Because, Madam Speaker, there is a chief in my area, an assistant chief, and some chiefs. They have made them uniforms for the area managers or village elders. And it does enhance the work they do, and it gives them even, they feel proud to be part of the security apparatus. Madam Speaker, I have seen we've got a record budget for the roads sector. But Madam Speaker, we have got a lot of pending bills, especially in the road sector. We have got more than 100 and over 100 billion of pending bills. Madam Speaker, I would have wished we could look at how we are going to pay off all the pending bills for the national government, which stands at above 510 billion, and the county governments, they stand at over 170 billion. Madam Speaker, those pending bills people have supplied services to the government, the ones who have supplied to the county governments, we are always talking about verification. How long will the verification take so that people can get paid their money? Because many people commit suicide because of lack of money, and they have taken loans from banks. So they have to be, now the government needs to think how we are going to pay. Madam Speaker, the third thing which I would want to talk about is the debt, because we cannot have the budget increasing every year. When I was in the Committee of Finance in 2014, and I asked, at that time the chairman was Honorable Langat, and I asked, why should we always be increasing the budget? Why can't we keep it stationary? Madam Speaker, I wish we had left it at that time the way it was, because even the debt ceiling which was there after President Kibaki's time, it was at 1.2 trillion. But there was a proposal from Treasury at that time to increase it by another 600 million to make it 1.8. But unfortunately, while it was brought to Parliament, instead of what Treasury had asked, we decided to increase it to 2.4 trillion, Madam Speaker. I wish we had stopped there, because at the moment, as we stand, our debt is still going up, and we are paying so much in interest charges, which we have inherited from the previous government. Madam Speaker, right now, with the budget, what we are expecting, revenues are of about 2.9 trillion, and the budget is about 4 trillion. Madam Speaker, 1.1 trillion we will have to borrow from somewhere, and if it is from the domestic market, the cost is prohibitive, and payment of that debt, because the banks at the moment are laughing all the way, because they're making abnormal profits at the expense of giving to the ordinary citizens. Madam Speaker, we need to cut all our debts. We need to see how to manage our debts, and if it is possible, not to increase the budget. Madam Speaker, I have seen there is a reduction in the TSC budget for teachers, a 30 million reduction in teacher training. I am wondering, I thought we need more teachers, and that has been what we've done. I mean, this government has increased 100,000 teachers in the last 3 to 4 years. We have not had so many teachers before, but we now need to even look at how we are going to accommodate the JSS teachers, Madam Speaker, because if we do not, I mean, we need to separate the JSS from the primary section, and then we need to promote whoever is to be promoted, so that even we employ the JSS teachers, because, Madam Speaker, I have not seen it here that we are putting the JSS in place. Madam Speaker, there are many things which we need to do as a country, and I think if it is possible, we can look at how we are going to subsidize fuel so that the fuel prices can come down. And I'm glad I heard the Minister for Energy and Petroleum, Honorable Wandai, saying that the prices will go down soon. I would want to urge the Minister to not wait until the 15th of June to lower the prices. I think he can do better if the fuel which we are going to get very soon, it will be at a lower rate. Let it be put down before the June the 15th. Madam Speaker, I have seen that we are talking about increasing money for indigents. But, Madam Speaker, we have reduced the money which is going to the Social Protection Fund. It's going for indigents insurance. So, Madam Speaker, we need to now rebalance and see that our people who are on the social ladder, who are lower, they can get their money on time and enough. Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I support. And petroleum, Honorable Wandai is saying
Member
that the
for
prices
Marsabit,
will go down soon.
Nabowako.
I would want to urge the minister to not wait until the 15th of June
Thank you,
to
Honorable
lower the
Speaker,
prices. I
for
think
giving me
he
this
can do better
opportunity
if
to add my voice
fuel which we are going to
to
get
budget and
very
appropriation.
soon, it will be at a lower rate. Let it be put down before the June the 15th. Madam Speaker, I have seen
Debate,
we
as
are
I
talking
confirm
about
that I support
increasing
the
indigents.
ongoing
But
debate.
Madam Speaker,
Honorable
we
Speaker,
have
I have gone
reduced
through the
the money
report. That
which
is
is
why
going
you
to
can
the
see
social
I'm holding
protection fund.
this report. I also want to congratulate the committee for giving all the attention, their time to this very important process and for guiding the nation and this honorable house. Honorable Speaker, if you go through the report, one thing that comes out is the different areas that has been considered, and especially village elders, because we are all part of the village elders formation, and all of us have benefited from our village elders. In fact, it has excited me. The amount that they will receive may sound small or look small. 3,000 may look very small, but even to just give them air time so that they can be able to communicate to their people and also us, because we all depend on the village elders for one reason or the other. For the first time, our government has done one of the best things to recognize the village elders and also appreciate their efforts. And thus I want to say big thank you to our president, because he is focused and he considers every part of the country and also all the people who contribute to the growth of this nation. So for the village elders to get at least something from now on, that is encouraging, and ours is just to make sure that we keep improving the policy so that we can also have enough budget that can take care of them. So I'm happy that village elders have been considered for this. Again, when you look at the report, fertilizer subsidy, again, 18 billion has been put there to strengthen food security. One of the best. Honorable Speaker, the nation that cannot feed its people is not a nation. And for our president to focus on this and also make sure that we have enough food in our stores and also feeding our people well, then that confirms that we'll be able to finance, we'll be able to feed our children, and they will also be able to study, and we will have a healthy nation because of having enough food that can build our bodies and also give us enough income, even locally, and sometimes we can even be able to export some of the food if we produce enough. So that is also very good, so that at least our farmers can be able to produce enough food for our country. Again, Honorable Speaker, under road infrastructure, we have put some substantial amount of money because every part of this country is benefiting from that. They want to congratulate His Excellency the President and the Ministry because they are focusing. The past pending bills have been paid, and right now new areas or identified roads are done in a good way. And for us to put enough money there, then that confirms that we are growing and growing very well. Honorable Speaker, again, rural electrification is another area. The last mile connectivity. I come from an area that still needs this, and for our government and for the committee to consider this and put some money there, then that means I will be able to connect many more homes, and many people will benefit from this. When this happens with the road infrastructure and everything, then definitely there will be economical growth, people will also be able to advance and also have better lives. And that is why I am happy that we are on the right track. The budget may look huge, but we are committed to transforming this government to this country, and our president is focused enough. Youth enterprise, which will be domiciled in every ward, again, is another encouraging thing because we have so many youths. Our young people are there. Many of them are graduates. Many of them are very innovative and very creative. Many have also started their own businesses. But unless they get some financial support, they may not be able to do a lot. And for this budget to consider that, we are on the right track. It shows that we are also concerned with our young people and their future. And mine is just to encourage the young people to make good use of these funds that are there and use the funds wisely to benefit themselves and their families. Honorable Speaker, again, the footbridges. We are doing a lot of housing and constructing a lot of houses, but most of the time we suffer because we do not have footbridges. Sometimes accidents happen, but when we do this, then we are protecting the lives of our people and also making sure that the infrastructure or the construction that we are doing will be taken care of and that we also take care of all our people. Again, Honorable Speaker, when you look at the budget, there is some money that we have put there for election preparedness. The committee has allocated timely procurement of electoral materials and technology and the strengthening of voter registration, civic education program, and enhancement of institutional capacity guarantee public confidence and effective delivery of the electoral process. This is very important because we are nearing the elections and 2027 is so close. Empowering the IBC, giving them enough resources will ensure that we have free and fair election and also motivate our electorates by educating them, giving them the materials they need, creating enough awareness, and just building their confidence just for them to know their right and everything. Honorable Speaker, this is the right time to do what we have done, putting enough money there so that IBC will be able to do all the things that they need to do on time and also prepare the country so that we can have that fair and free election. As I finish, Honorable Speaker, confirmation of JSS teachers is quite important. This government in history has already employed over 100,000 teachers, and the committee noted these interventions are expected to address existing staffing gaps in the school, enhance teacher motivation through career progression, improve job security, and promote stability and efficiency in the education sector. Honorable Speaker, there is no other important ministry than this because we are investing in the future of our children and preparing them to be leaders. They are already leaders and they will be our future leaders. And unless we invest enough and educate them, give them all that they need, we may not have a good future, we may not have good leaders in future. But our government is focusing a lot and allocated enough money. And mine is just to request the TSC, when they do the promotion, we make sure that we consider all the qualified people from different parts of this country so that at least no one is demoralized, but everyone is motivated and giving their best to the country. Honorable Speaker, the budget looks good. We might need to go extra mile to look for funds, but it is of benefit to this nation, and we congratulate the committee and look forward to this nation growing through this budget. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Future of our children and preparing them to be leaders.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Coach.
Our future leaders. And unless we invest enough and educate them, give them
Thank you very
all
much,
that they need.
Honorable
We
Speaker.
may not have
Let me also add my voice to
future,
this
we may not have
budget estimate
good leadership
26-27.
in future. But
I've
our
not gone
government
through the
is
entire
focusing a
document,
lot
but
and
I must say
allocating
that
enough money. And mine
the
is
budget
just
committee
request
must
the TSC,
allow the budget
when
committee for
they do the
very
promotion,
job well done.
they make sure
The team that is chaired
we
by my very
consider
good friend
all
Sam
the
Atandi has done a
qualified
very good
people
job.
from different
A
parts
budget of
this country,
4.8 trillion,
so that at least
Honorable Speaker,
no
is just
one
not
is
about numbers.
demoralized, but
It is
everyone
about the
is
real
invested
transformation
and
that this country
doing their
needs.
best
It
for the
must
country.
interpret
Honorable Speaker,
into
the budget
development. It must be seen to be going down to the people in terms of development. And I've taken time to look at the budget. And I must say that the areas that we've always wanted have largely been covered, particularly the issue in the teaching sector. I want to confirm, and I'm very happy today because every member in this house has received a message from teachers